just wanted to start by saying thank you to the class of 2011 for the great privilege of being the last instructor at FSU to ever give you a lecture. So thank you, that's awesome. When I found out a few days ago that I'd be speaking today, I knew two things. For my sake, I wanted to give you words of wisdom that I knew would never fail. And for your sake, I wanted to be brief. I spent a lot of time over the past few days stressing out over trying to figure out how to tie my words of wisdom into some kind of theatrical metaphor that would sound really witty and provide some kind of deep, meaningful analogy between theater and graduation. But the message kept getting lost in the attempt to be clever, so finally around 2 o'clock this morning, I decided to keep it simple and to offer the two words that you learned a long time ago, but nonetheless 2 words I knew would never fail you no matter where your journey may take you. Be kind. Theater is a discipline of passion where every artist who works in the field bears their soul in some way, shape, or form to an audience. For those of us who put up shows, our job is to treat the character and the story we present on stage with compassion, to offer our audiences an understanding of someone else's fears and miseries and their hopes and dreams. But how can we as artists do that job effectively if we don't practice that skill in our own lives? For 11 years before I came back to grad school, I enjoyed the great honor of being a high school drama teacher. When I was young and first got into the classroom, I thought 100% of my job was going to be turning out great actors and technicians. But it didn't take long to figure out that in order to turn out good artists, I had to turn out great people. Just like you, some of my students were going to go out and have very successful lives in the arts, and some were going to find theater a doorway to other just as important paths. But no matter what direction they took, those who had sympathy in their hearts and a gentle approach to their fellow human beings never found a failure. I take more pride in the people they have become than I do the tours they've been on or the commercials I've seen them in. You may not have experienced this yet, but trust me when I tell you that while your resume may get you through the door, it's how you treat people on the other side of the door that will keep you working. You can give the most impressive audition in the world, but if you're unkind to the stage manager, you're not going to get the job. And remember, people can tell the difference, so be careful not to do it out of obligation, but rather be kind because it's how good human beings treat one another. So let compassion be the editor to your every thought and especially your every word. Be gentle and kind with everyone you encounter and live your life in a way that expresses a generosity of spirit. It's safe to assume that you will not agree with or even like, for that matter, everyone with whom you come in contact. And should that be the case, treat the person with compassion. Wish them a prayer of peace and move forward. For the past few months, graduates, leading up to this moment of your graduation, I'm sure you've been warned that you're heading out into a cruel world. But if you go out with a sincere sense of kindness and generosity, you will find it reflected back to you. So while it's simple and even cliche, I speak as someone who's been out in that cruel world, and I promise, the greatest lesson you will ever use is probably the first lesson you ever learned. Just be nice. I leave you with a few words from the great French playwright Ennui. Et voilà, maintenant le resort est bon. C'est le nébuleux qui détruit tout seul. C'est celle qui commande dans la tragédie, on donne le petit coup de pensée pour c'est le demain, rien, on regarde pendant une seconde à une fille qui passe et elle la prendre dans la rue. I didn't have time to translate that, and I haven't had French since 11th grade, but I'm sure it's a really good quote.